Good morning, warriors. Hope you guys doing great. This is May 24th, I believe, 2022. Hope you guys having a great morning. This is a cooler type weather in the Midwest, which I like. It was hot about a week ago, but now it's a little bit cooler, which is nice, very nice. Hope you guys once again are doing well, following your goals, continuing on this journey. It is a great journey. There's a lot of challenges, of course, but in the long run, this makes you an excellent person, and that's what we're looking for, being excellent. So thanks for all the comments, likes, donations, comments, especially because I get a chance to kind of focus on different questions and things that that we talk about. So Josh Gaming sent me a question, and I'll try to answer it the best that I can. I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but let's go back over it again, because I think it is a concern for some people that we've talked about before. So I think Josh is asking that he is retaining, but he feels like he's losing energy. So why is he losing energy, but he's not relapsing? And that's an interesting type of question. So let's kind of examine that a little bit as we talk more. And so let's kind of look at this and see. All right, so the whole idea we're talking about here is energy, right? And if we talk about energy, we know that energy cannot be destroyed. It can be transferred. So you're never going to lose energy, right? You're never going to lose your energy. It's always going to be transferred into something else. So the question then becomes, is that what is it being transferred into? So if you're retaining, that energy that you would be letting go of is still in your body. So because it's still in your body, that means you haven't lost it. The question is, how can it be dissipated away? Now, there's lots of different answers to this question, and certainly the two major ones that we've talked about is the physical, when you're actually going ahead and releasing because of some picture or some woman, or if you're a woman, some man, and you're releasing, and you're losing energy that way. The other energy is emotional energy. You can lose energy, and you know this because sometimes you can talk to a friend of yours, someone you can talk to, and they're venting, and they vent for a while, and all of a sudden you're done with the conversation, and that person feels great because they've let go all of their energy, and they call it emotions, but energy, kind of the energy is built into you, and you now have acquired that, so you're drained. You now have the energy that is on top of you. So you can feel tired. It's almost like working a lot, all day long, and you come home and you're exhausted. I have one of these things where I can walk on my steps, and if I take 20,000 steps during the day, I'm exhausted. 25,000 steps, you can be exhausted. So you can feel tired even though you're on retention. Now, the other thing to look at is as you're trying to kind of decide what your goals are and how you're looking at things, the key to a lot of this is keeping in perspective what's happening here. And I've said this before too, is that a lot of times your expectations change when you're on retention. And some people have mentioned to me that they don't see any more benefits or they don't notice them. Well, what's happening is that this is becoming your lifestyle, your mainstream. It's almost like the dichotomy we talk about with light and dark. Without the dark, you can't see the light. So when everything is dark and this is all you've grown up with, you would think it's normal. If everything is light out there and this is how you grew up, then you're expecting to be light. And so when it comes to retention, because you were in such a state that our society tells us to be in, and you've been in that state for a long time like I was, that becomes the normal. The normal is you should be releasing all the time and you should be losing your energy. Now, the first set of times you're doing this, you're going to feel an unbelievable type of surge. And because you're feeling that type of surge, it feels a lot different than your normal. Now, as time goes on, what I've noticed is that you become more of a normal part of your life, and the benefits are there, but they're not as extreme as they were when you didn't have them. And I do think this is a key type of thing. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to stop and release, right? Just to go back and forth all the time like I was doing. That was part of my problem. I did go back and forth a lot because I was wondering what the problem was. I was losing, I didn't think I had the benefits, and I was losing them. And so I kind of lost a little hope at times, and I went back and, I said, what the heck, and this kind of stuff. But now I realize the benefits are really a long-term type of thing. Now, what those benefits do for you is they also allow you to transfer that discipline to other parts of your life. And so you continue then to try to have discipline in the foods you eat, the vices that you stay away from, the addictions you stay away from. All those type of things then become something that you avoid. And you try to eat healthier, you try to live more of a healthy type of life so that all these benefits can be enhanced. And they will be enhanced. But you also then have a lot more self-control, so now you're not getting into these emotional battles all the time, and you're trying to control yourself. Now, is it perfect? No, of course not. I mean, we're all at different stages, and especially when you're younger, it's very difficult to control a lot of these things. It's difficult to control your hormones. It's difficult to control high levels of testosterone. It's difficult to control your emotions. All these type of things have a factor. So, Josh, I think it is possible that you feel like that you're losing energy, or you don't have as much energy. But a number of things I would suggest to you as you're working on this journey. One of which is to watch what you're eating. Watch the types of foods you're taking in. I mean, obviously, if they're high carbs and sugar, things like that, that's going to drain you down a little bit, so you won't have the type of energy you're looking for. Make sure that you are, eating smaller meals. I would recommend. Don't eat huge meals. I've done that before, and that's a problem. Try to have one thing of each type of food, so you're not just kind of stuffing yourself, especially after you go through a fast. Like I try to fast on most days between 12 and 8 and 8 at night and 12 in the afternoon, or 12 noon. So you could try to fast, if you want to do that, but you have to somehow let that flow go through, because your testosterone is going to be raised no matter how old you are. I mean, even 61 in June, you're still going to have testosterone levels higher. And I could tell that. It's not like I was when I was 20, of course, and some of you guys really have really high levels of testosterone, but you can still, keep what you have and make it stronger. And if you can eliminate a lot of those other things around you, you become stronger as well. And it's almost like a superpower you have. Now, I would also try to, and this is a key one, eliminate the clutter in your life. Now, that's a big one, because stress really is our killer. There's a lot of these things we're dealing with. Stress becomes the killer. Stress is where you end up having problems with all of this stuff, because when stress happens, it kind of dissipates you. Stress creates that anxiety. Stress creates that depression. all that kind of stuff, the anger, things like that, getting frustrated, all these things are caused by a level of stress. And some people, they do different things. They scratch sometimes, they hit their hands against their heads, all kinds of different stuff. When they have high levels of stress, they try to deal with it. And some people, if they don't have those type of things, then they go to addictions. They try to do drugs to forget about the stress. They try to drink to forget about the stress. They eat to forget about the stress, right? All these type of things. They spend money, go out shopping to avoid the stress. You got to find some ways to avoid the stress. So if you have a lot of stress going on, it's possible that you're losing energy emotionally, which does affect your bodily energy level. I mean, that's a big part. Now, with being on retention, you're going to be better as far as focusing and not being as anxious and stressful, and that's what I've experienced. So you can deal with it better, but still doesn't mean it's infallible. You're going to have issues. You're going to have times where people can, go after you and they can press your buttons and you're going to get upset. So knowing thyself is really a key point here. The more you know your trigger buttons, the more you know how you can be kind of stressed out, the more you can, the more you're going to be able to avoid the temptation and focusing on this type of stuff. So I think the key in looking at a lot of this is to kind of look to see, how you can try to avoid a lot of things in your life that, make you stressful and becomes, very difficult to deal with. And I think that's the whole key to the situation. So as you look at this, I think Josh asked a good question. So my suggestions at this point is looking at this in a number of ways. Realize that you're on a journey, and there's going to be ebbs and flows on your journey. But realize that the benefits are long-term because your commitment is long-term. This is why you're doing this. So don't give up the ship here just because you may have a couple days that your energy level, wanes. I also think a lot of it depends on the weather for some people. And I also think that it depends on, like I said, what you're eating. It depends on things happening around you. All these other factors can influence as well, what you're, dealing with on a daily basis. And those type of things can impact, your energy. And so you have to kind of realize those things impact it and also keep an eye on that to make sure it's not out of control. And of course, obviously the big one is to make sure you keep retaining unless you're going to be in a situation where you want to have children. And that's, like I said, a whole different matter. But that type of thing inside of you is keeping your energy. So again, if we go back to the whole principle here, energy is matter, and it cannot be destroyed. So, you're going to always be there. And so it's there. The energy is there. Now, the question is, what happens to the energy, right? It can move away from you. It can come into you. And I think what ends up happening is that you can lose energy, and it can be it's almost like a vacuum in a way. That what ends up happening is that as you become stressed out, you acquire energy from other things, other people, those type of things. Or you give energy away. So you're either taking energy in or you're giving energy away. And I may do a special one on this one. But if you're giving energy away, then obviously you have a gap. And so you're going to fill that energy at some point by some energy that's transferring to you. And what you want to do is continue to keep your energy strong and focusing by doing those right types of things. And so if you continually lose your energy, you become weaker, and you may also acquire negative type energy, which is not going to help you either. So you can either lose your energy or you can acquire negative energy. And those type of things do not make you a stronger, more efficient person. They make you more of a weaker person who is, dependent on other people or dependent on this world. And as I said the other day, I don't believe we are living in this world. If I go back to the biblical studies, we are not living in this world. We shouldn't be. We're living more in a spiritual world, which obviously is energy. So if you look at that, there's energy. And so as you look at something, and I saw this yesterday with something, I had a liquid in my in a little container, and a couple days later I come and it's evaporated. It's become hard. There's no more water there. Right? There's no more water there. So something happened in water. Now the water is not destroyed. The water disappears from our eyes because it's transferred into a gas, and that gas is up there, and that's changing the whole dynamics of the energy. And this is what happens to us as well. We change our energy on a daily and a weekly and a monthly and a yearly basis, and a lot of that comes from the different types of things around us, either taking our energy away, either we're giving our energy away, or we're acquiring negative energy. Now here's the other thing. You want to move away from negative energy. So Josh, I have no clue if you have a lot of stress or people around you that draw energy from people. It's possible. You might want to take a look at that to kind of see that type of thing, what ends up happening. But the idea is that you want to make sure that you're not around people that are going to draw energy from you. You want to make sure that you're positive on the energy that you have. And by staying around people who are positive, that energy is reinforced. You're not losing energy. But when you get negative people around you who are draining, and we know those kind of people, you'll transfer your energy to that person. That's one of the reasons why that person unknowingly is so pessimistic and negative. They're looking for positive energy. Unfortunately, they tend to reject it because they're such in a state of realizing negativity that they can't really kind of focus on positive energy. So they're always in a state of negativity because they're accustomed to that. You try to give them some positive energy, they reject it. Now they like it, but they reject it. At some point, they go back to being the way they were. They may change for a few days here and there. Something good happens to them, but they go back to that negative energy. So it's almost like negative attention. Some people like attention so much, whether it's negative or positive, they don't care. It's negative. So it's interesting, my friends, because when you look at this, I am now at the stage in my life where I look at a lot of things as energy, because that's how we are made. I don't look at the physical parts of what most people look at now. I don't look at it as physical beings. I look at it as more of energy, spiritual type energy beings. And so because of that, I think we have to look at terms of energy. You may agree, you may disagree. But that's my, I guess, deduction after all these years, that we are not of this world in the physical world people talk about. This is the problem. You go back to the whole study of Adam and Eve, and that's the big issue with Adam and Eve. They all of a sudden became aware of their physical surroundings. And I think even though it's important to become aware of that, you're living in the spiritual realm, even though you look like you're living in the physical realm. And that sounds a little interesting to people, but think about that for a little bit. All right, guys, we're approaching 20 minutes, so I'm going to end this one. Hope you guys are doing well today. Have a great day. I think I will talk more about this transfer of energy tomorrow. And until tomorrow, I'll continue answering questions as well. Please send as many as you can, and continue to like and comment and subscribe to our channel. Have a great day, my friends. May 24th, 2022. And battle on!